E pessoal, sabotando a mais um vídeo. Hoje iremos reagir a Villains Ambição from Markham. This is almost an 11-minute song, so I'm going to cut my introduction short and we are going to jump straight into listening to it. So I'm very excited to see what Markham has for me today. Let's get into it. Oh, shoot. Okay, so Kaito is playing as Buggy. It's a little disappointing that he gets a very short verse, but I imagine it's just because Buggy is a very small villain when compared to the rest of the villains in One Piece. So it makes sense. It's just a little disappointing. I really like Kaito whenever he's featured, so a little disappointed, but it makes sense in terms of the story and just the general lore of One Piece. Ooh. Ooh. Okay, so Oshaman is playing as Arlong. I really like how Oshaman started his song with a little bit about his story, talking about how humans have always treated him like garbage. So when he realized this, that's when he became a villain. So I really like how we get a little bit of why Arlong became a villain. Also, a lot of very descriptive lines talking about tearing people apart, sharks being the king of the sea. So very descriptive and really awesome from Oshaman. I really like that, a little bit of inclusion of knowing Arlong's story.
Deve ser porque tem homem de choro eterno. Oh, que se pressa por inteiro, eu certo socorro. Soube mexer em pouco tempo, você vai tomar.
Jeez.
Entende, mas não é coisa pra garoto. Você cai, emerge de mim, bem padece de novo. Não confia em ninguém, me responda onde está pronto. Quando isso acabar, finalizar, não me esforço. Pode tocar em mim, você não vai vencer, não. O tempo tá passando, então corra.
Oh.
Submerso, crocodilo na areia, nada no deserto. Desertos foda para mim, cê tá com nada. Esse é o fim do seu reino, esse é o fim de alabasta. Descobriu como me bate, não fale algo que não irá cumprir. Então, sucumbindo nas areias. Você já ouviu falar que Deus...
Basara as Crocodile. A lot of very terrifying imagery is being used. I actually was not expecting that. I know that a lot of the One Piece villains are very powerful, but hearing each of the artists describe the power is actually very gory and it's also really awesome. I think Basara's verse was really awesome. However, there's one small thing that I really wish that he would have done, or the editor would have done. I saw the timer on the video. I thought it would have been really cool if the timer started at Basara's verse and then he ends it when the timer ends. I feel like that would have been a lot cooler, especially visually, because it's just like if you introduce into the video, I would imagine that it is going to be used later. But that's just my small critique of it. Overall, Basara, really solid verse. And yeah, so far this is a really I don't know, just a really good start to a cipher.
Sucumbindo nas areias. Você já ouviu falar que Deus tá te escutando?
Oh.
Tudo aqui nesse lugar, tudo aqui nesse lugar. Pelo visto eu vou ter que ir atrás de vocês. Meu plano não vão parar, meu plano não vão parar. Então tá em choque, nunca vi na sua frente. Quem imaginaria que ele é tão prepotente? Tão dentro do jogo, ou eu frito você. Fogos vão acender, com a barca viajarei. Vejo que é capaz da eletrocutação. Se não posso te dar choque, eu quebro na mão. Batimento vai e volta, veja eletrocutação. Pra tudo isso acabar, uma carga de 1 milhão. Para que eu vou obliterar. Nesse lugar, o teu início vai acontecer. Nunca é um mantra. Pura energia, meu corpo vai carregar. Quanto mais o tempo vai, os voos vão aumentando. Direto da CP9.
MH Rap as Enel. Now we're slowly transitioning from very powerful verses, and I really like the style that MH Rap chose. I think this is my first time ever hearing him on a song, so I do not know if this is his usual style. However, I really like his style. It reminds me of early 2010 rap. So I imagine someone like T-Pain, Lil Jon, very old school clubbing music. His voice, it fits perfectly with that time period of rap, and I think it's really awesome. Also, I really like there are little bits and pieces where he speeds up and he still is able to use his style very effectively. The speed doesn't overtake his style, and his style is very important. So very well done. I really like that from MH Rap.
Direto da CP9, melhor que você não lute. Morrer frente a frente, prazer me chama Rob Lute. Criança demônio não vai, fica em paz. É o aviso do predador, deixem ela para trás. Garoto, quem pensa que é, achar que vai me derrotar. Porque você tá no chão, não tem mais marcha pra passar. Olhem pra mim, não pode atingir o mais forte que tem. Na economia, seja que tá em perigo, lampado na frente, repete comigo. Você deseja socos na sua cara, deseja socos e chutes seguidos. Lampados ferozes, eu tô muito veloz, então não viver se tentar me acompanhar. A realidade corroer, é só como dói, porque eu tô no topo de toda a cadeia alimentar. Essa vai correr e vai se debater. Se eu tenho uma missão, a missão vou fazer. Então, melhor que nem lute. Frente a Robin Lute. Eu sou.
So, Neko as Rob Lucci. I feel like Neko is a really great balance between like Basada and Oshama's verse mixed in with MH Rap's verse. Because Neko is able to have a similar speed that MH Rap used, but he's also including the ferocity that Basada and Oshama used. So really awesome there. And I like the transitions between the different styles. The first two verses were a lot more powerful, a lot more slower. And then when we transitioned to MH Rap and Neko, their styles are focused a lot more on speed and less of the ferocity from the first two. So really smooth transitions, and it's actually really nice because I get to hear a lot of different styles throughout the song. Ooh. Ooh.
Você não vai fugir. Tão presos entre levar. É que eu tô querendo sua sombra, me diz. Isso te assombra. É que a aventura é muito longa, zumbis vão te pegar. Então me diga se você se confundiu. Pensando seu barriga, mas veja só, é meu navio. Peça que pare, peça que pare. O exército de zumbis começou a bater. Ninguém vai impedir. Tirebar não vai mais ecoar sua voz. Conheça a minha criação.
Ooh. Chrono as Gecko Moria. So it seems like we're getting another transition. I feel like this one, Chrono focused a lot more on. I feel like Chrono focused a lot more on the charisma of a leader. The first four verses were all focused on different things. The first two verses focused obviously on power. Neko and MH Rap focused a lot more on speed and style. It seemed like Chrono really wanted to focus on why Gecko Moria is a threat. And Gecko Moria seems to be a threat not only because powerful, but also because has a crew that actually believes in them. So I really like how Chrono included the different vocals in the background as if they were chanting with him. And overall, really good. Really spooky too. So I really like that. Ooh.
Então vamos ver se é forte mesmo como você falava. Eu sou um vulcão erupção, punhos cobertos de lava. Sou Maria Vermelho cão, rei se é filho, tu és rei dos pirão. Isso vai ser não é esperança. Que é esse moleque? Uma minha coisa pra criança. Homem mais forte do mundo que fez o mundo tremer. Metade do rosto, só força toda a cadeia. Justiça absoluta, sem perdão. Pra quem se opõe a ela, atravesso eixo no meio, pronto, execução completa.
So if Chrono had a crew with him, Henrique Mendonça brought an army. So it seems like I was correct with my way of thinking. It seemed like Henrique Mendonça was also really focused on the more charismatic side of a leader. However, instead of charisma, it seemed like also focused a lot on power, and you could feel that in the song. The instrumentals were really fitting, and they were perfect with Henrique Mendonça's voice. And I really like all these different smooth transitions. It really shows how... I'm not sure if this was organized like this, unless it was like it was a coincidence that a lot of these artists like followed each other. But I really like the construction of the song. I think it's really well done. Oh! Woo! So we also get to have a chorus. That's very exciting. So I think the chorus is well done. Obviously, I really don't have any complaints. I think the chorus is really powerful. I obviously love hearing everyone's voices on the chorus. So really beautiful. I also really appreciate Kaito's verse in that small segment. I think it's a really good balance because we already have Henrique Mendonça's powerful verse. And then at the end, we also get to have this really powerful chorus. So I feel like Kaito's verse is the perfect time to decompress. It's a good time to relax a little bit. So I really appreciate that. There are times, especially with long songs like these, it can be a little bit overwhelming. But I think when you have a nice, calm, short verse, it allows the audience to relax a little bit. Ooh.
Não vem me encarar, é o tal do Flamengo. Tá rindo da sua cara. De longe, o seu final. Veja a cidade inteira, uma gaiola mortal. Sendo mal, mais uma mais. Incrível, nem tirou. É o óculos da cara. Decapitando, facilmente passou e traidor. Você tá sempre por um pior. Eu prevejo seu fim.
Gabriel Rodriguez as Don Flamingo. I think this might be my favorite verse of the song so far. Gabriel Rodriguez, his voice, and with the help of the instrumental, I think they are a perfect pair with each other. I feel like Gabriel Rodriguez's voice, it fits perfectly with the instrumental. When the instruments increase, Gabriel Rodriguez's voice increases, and it fills in all those nice pockets very well. So this one probably might be my favorite verse so far, just because of how smooth and just how nice it is and satisfying it is to listen to Gabriel Rodriguez's voice.
Seu final, com meu hack, dos mais velhos, general. Katakuri, piratas da Big Mom. Vocês perderam a noção, traidores não escapam. Já que nessa ilha vocês invadiram aqui nessa ilha, terão sua morte. Eu sou a perfeição pelo bem da família, já que sou filho de um encontro forte. Vocês tentam, mas em vão. Eu valho mais que 1 bilhão. Eu tenho um monte na minha mão. Tem pra cima, eu arão. Os espelhos, se prendeu, tá maluco. Não vencerá de mim, nem voltará ao seu grupo. Tudo que você faz melhor posso fazer. Ser fatiado, sufocado, como prefere morrer. A diferença eu mostrar. Então você também tem um duelo de hacks do rei. Seu futuro é só trevas, minhas costas não tocaram chão. Eu vou subestimar meu hack da observação. Quem que vai ensinar?
Dadawi as Katakuri. I feel like stylistically, Dadawi's verse would have fit better in the first verse. Granted, it doesn't seem like there's a really good connection between Gabriel Rodriguez's verse and Dadawi's verse, because as I said before the half, it seemed like there were going to be two artists and they were able to mirror each other very well. It doesn't seem like there's the same type of cohesion between this verse and the last verse. So I think stylistically, I would have rather preferred Dadawi's verse somewhere in the first half. Granted, as I said before, maybe when everyone's showing up, it makes sense chronologically with the anime, so that makes sense. I would have preferred just to have just a little bit of cohesion between Gabriel Rodriguez's verse and Dadawi's verse, just because that's what I've noticed throughout the song. It's totally possible that that isn't what, like, it wasn't meant to do that, but for me, that's what I would prefer. Although it was really cool, I like it. Very powerful, very strong, and it's Dadawi, so of course he's going to bring that intensity. Oh.
Eu vou te matar. Minha bebida, porque esse moleque encheu o saco. São duas lutas em Onigashima. Imperadores contra pirralhos. Cadê chapéu de palha? Vai ser rei do que? Você me decepciona. Me lava mais de você. Não vai me fazer cair. Sou Charlotte Lily. Porque uma primeira essa imperatriz. Cuida dele, Kaido. Isso não é problema, não. O mundo foda-se, tá despertando. Quando o dragão respira, eleva o Nigashima. Todos com medo de mim, zumba na minha palma. Big Mom e Kaido achou que vence Yonko. Chegar no nosso nível, só nascendo de novo. Despencando pelos ares, eu posso ser morto, mas eu prometi que eu vou achar esse tesouro.
Oh, wow. Never mind. It seemed like this second half, is just going crazy. There is no order. Everyone is just going to do their own thing. Okay, now it kind of makes sense. I feel like now we have reached the point of the story where I feel like all these characters are just too powerful. So of course things are going to be disorganized. But what can I say about Kaido and Annie as a duet? I think they are a really good duet. They both have that power, and I think they're able to also work with each other very well. They both bring a different kind of intensity to the song, and even when they were singing together, I felt like their voices were actually pretty balanced. I was afraid that one person's voice was going to overtake the other, but I think if we listen to it again, it sounds really balanced because you have Kaido's voice. His voice is a lot lower. You hear it initially, but then Annie's voice is a lot more higher pitch. So she kind of finishes off, and then you can hear her at when she does her high voice. Like, they're both very clear, and that's just because both of them have a very intense style, so you get to hear both of their styles very well. Ooh. I feel like Markham is going to explode. Oh! What was that sound effect? That noise? That noise, that effect, that it was actually so cool. It's so sudden, and oh, I was correct. Markham was about to explode, and he did not disappoint. Okay, now I'm hesitant to say that I think Markham has my favorite verse. I think how he starts off that verse is really nice. It's, once again, it's that slower pace that gives the audience a chance to relax a little bit. Especially since it felt like this half, it was a lot more powerful. It was a lot more intense. So I think how Markham started that was really perfect. And then once you had a time to relax, he hits you. He is not just hitting you, he is beating you up with his gang. So I really like that. I think Markham might have my favorite verse. It's, I don't know, I really like Gabriel Rodriguez's verse a lot though. It's Lucas ART? The super surprise guest? I thought the song was going to be over. Alright, let's see what Lucas ART has.
Fazem uns anos, século todo sumiu. Segredos, verdades não sabem de nada. O que significa o chapéu de palha? Eu sou
that was ominous. Oh my god. Okay, I wasn't expecting that. I never expect Lucas ART or Gabriel Rodriguez in ciphers. I never expect them. So, okay, okay, they're cool. I'm happy they're here. But very ominous way to end the song, talking about how the country never existed. I'm not sure what that means. I'm pretty sure one of you One Piece experts will tell me. But really awesome song from everyone. I think definitely for sure Gabriel Rodriguez or Markham have my favorite verses. I really like how it was organized at the beginning and then it went completely crazy with the end. So really fun to listen to. And I'm really happy that it seemed like everyone had time to fully, I don't know, because the hardest part about ciphers or the hardest part about big songs like these, I feel like artists never have enough time to exactly do what they want to do because they either are very limited with time or they're required to write about a very specific thing. But when you have a very general topic and with a longer time, you are able to do a lot more things. So I'm really happy to see that Markham allowed every artist to have a lot more freedom with their writing. So thank you all so much for watching. I know this was recommended to me by every single person. So let me know in the comment section down below which one was your favorite verse. For me, I already said it, Gabriel Rodriguez and or Markham. So you can let me know who your favorite was in the comment section down below. And also while you're down there, don't forget to tell me who else I should be reacting to. And until then, obrigado por assistir. Subordinary. Howdy.